Point A, the moral goodness of productive work. Point 1, God commands us to work. Even before there was sin in the world, God put man in the Garden of Eden to work it and to keep it. Genesis 2:15, thus demonstrating the moral goodness of productive work and its necessity for fulfilling God's purpose for us here on the earth. Paul told the Thessalonian church, with toil and labor we worked night and day. And this was to give you in ourselves an example to imitate. So they were to do what Paul did and to work. Then Paul added, if anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat, unless he's at a faculty retreat. Therefore, the Bible views productive work as morally good, and even commands that Christians should work heartily for the Lord and not for man, Colossians 3:23. In the Old Testament, the book of Ecclesiastes speaks of joy in one's work. Ecclesiastes 2:24 and 25, there is nothing better for a person than that he should eat and drink and find enjoyment in his toil. This also I saw is from the hand of God. For apart from him, who can eat or who can have enjoyment? Now, after I prepared this talk, I thought I'd better check and see what Scott Ray said about work in his ethics book. Where are you, Scott? You're here, and he's moderating. And I loved it. In Moral Choices, page 334, work will also be a part of the world after the Lord's return. And he looks at the prophetic section, Isaiah 2:4, about beating swords into plowshares, and spears into pruning hooks, and says, if you have a plowshare and a pruning hook, looks like you're going to be working in the age to come. Very interesting. And I liked it. Scott, it was a new thought for me. So thank you. It was good. When this positive viewpoint on work, that it's morally good and we're to take delight in it, enjoy, when this positive viewpoint that it's God's purpose for us, that he wants us to be productive workers, when this is affirmed by a society, why then working at a regular job is seen as a rightful source of personal fulfillment and dignity. And the culture in general assumes that honorable people, at least, will strive to become diligent, faithful, cheerful workers who willingly do a bit more than what is required because they view productive work as morally good, and they really believe that God will be pleased if they strive for excellence in their work. Number 2, work should be balanced with times of rest. God also built times of periodic rest into the structure of his people's lives. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work. I realize that Christians today differ over the exact way in which this command applies to believers who live under the new covenant in Christ. But I think all Christians today would agree that at least it is still wise for us to take regular times of rest from work. In doing this, we rightly imitate God himself, who saw that everything he had made was very good and then rested on the 7th day from all his work that he had done, surely on that day enjoying and taking delight in the work of his hands. Number 3, workers should be able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Just as God delighted in the results of his creative work, so he commends to us enjoying the fruits of our labor. As I mentioned again, Ecclesiastes talks about this. Everyone also to whom God has given wealth and possessions and power to enjoy them and to accept his lot and rejoice in his toil, this is the gift of God. And 1 Timothy 6:17 says God is the one who richly provides us with everything to enjoy. Point B,